Okay, one of today's videos that I'm going to be talking about it involves home loans. It's one program that's actually been around for a little while, but is getting even more intense right now, currently during our economic conditions. So, Bank of America is going to introduce community affordable loan solutions. And this is what you call history repeating itself again. And basically, how they're presenting is that to expand home ownership opportunities in the African American and Latino communities, Bank of America, pay attention to this, bank provided down payment, no closing costs, mortgages, advances efforts to access home ownership. Say it again. The bank is going to put the down payment, there's no closing costs on the mortgage. Okay? And that's gonna just from not that happening, the bank is gonna want to get their money back. So that's gonna also add money to the loan more than even what the house is worth. So if they've already have to put the cost down to buy the home, then other closing costs and other fees that the bank's gonna have. So that's gonna make you, as soon as you buy the house, you're underwater. Then we got to look at probably the interest rates are probably going to be a lot higher because this is a special program. Um, and most people that need this most likely don't have the best credit scores, or they just may not have the money to uh, put a great down payment on the vehicle. And it comes off, maybe they did create this to say, let's say they did want to add to more Latinos and African Americans home ownership. But owning a home is just not going out there buying a home. It's a lot to owning a home, a lot of responsibility. Homes require a lot of upkeep. And there's also more bills than just paying the loan. I'll go more in detail the things you got to think about when buying a home. But a lot of people also will say that this is a racist thing. I can see how you could say that, but I'm gonna say no. So because these are basically subprime loans, and for those of us that were around during the 2008 housing crisis, where the taxpayer had to bail out the housing, it was mainly because of loans like this. I know everybody would like a home. I would like a home, but if you can't afford it, you don't need to buy a home because it can make your life worse than what it was. But I got a house though, and it's just so you can have a house. Um, because there's a lot of things in going into home ownership. And I just want to point out some of the areas that it lists down here. They're trying to make it affordable in Miami. Miami is very densely possible. I'm sorry, very dense, it's dense. It's very dense population. There's a lot of people crowded in the area. Los Angeles, same thing. So buying a home there is very tough, even for people that's making good money. Finding a good home that they like is very difficult, and then maintaining it because prices are always going up, especially in LA. Democrat controlled LA gonna tax you, coming up with a new tax every week. California. As you look down, I would say you go on and just take a look at it. I can see at the front where it seems like they're just trying to help. The biggest thing you got to understand, the banks want to make money. Make money, make money, make money. So a lot of people might say, well, if people are going to end up getting foreclosed most likely on these loans, why would the bank do it? Well, that's because the bank will take a loan out, buy the home, have people pay it for a little while. They're going to work as hard as they can to try to keep it. Just talking positive, and then eventually the interest rates are going to catch up to them, or for whatever reason they won't be able to afford to keep paying on the loan. The loan goes in foreclosure. The bank gets the loan back, and then they sell the house to somebody else. And even after they sell off and do the charge off, it's still going to be a debt that the person owes to the bank. So it's basically subprime again. There's a YouTube video on this where one of the guys I follow, he goes a little bit more depth. We're going to just watch a small clip of that.
Closing costs, mortgages for first time home buyers in Black and Hispanic communities in certain cities and neighborhoods across the nation. Now, there's a few elephants in the room, but the very first one, the obvious one is, hey, ABL, isn't that racism to have a loan for one group of people and not the other? How can they do that? How is that legal? Well, I think the key is that they didn't say the loans are for Black and Hispanic people. They said the loans are for Black and Hispanic neighborhoods, communities, meaning areas that have a high Black and or high Hispanic population. That's how they're going to get around it. But the other elephant in the room is, if you can't afford to put any kind of money down, I'm not saying 20%, at least 3, 4, 5%. If you can't afford to put any money down, and the closing costs are an issue, then how are you going to be able to maintain the home? You see, I'm a homeowner. Before we get to the article, which I do have, I'm a homeowner, and I didn't put 20% down. I think it might have been 3.5%, 4% down, but I still had to pay $15,000 in cash, and you can't even get a loan for that. That can't be a credit card. That's got to be cold hard cash from your bank account. You got to wire it to the lender. Okay, so if you don't have that kind of money to where it's not going to hurt you, and if you give it, you're not going to be out back like, okay, how am I going to eat? If you can't just spend that money, you're going to have a hard time being a homeowner because there's so many costs associated with owning a home. If your roof goes, that's 10 bands right there. Okay, your HVAC, your plumbing, your small things, your lawn care. Can you buy a lawnmower for $400? Can you buy a weed whacker or just pay somebody to cut your grass every week or every 2 weeks? Your pest control, your garbage removal, pressure washing, all little small things. If you got an HOA, you must adhere to certain principles or you're going to have a problem.
Yeah, to watch the rest of that, just go to Bank of America introducing zero down payment loans. Type that in on YouTube. It's going to be the Anthony Bryan Logan. He goes in more depth on that. But yeah, he basically points into a great point that things people need to think about. It's just a small thing when it comes to buying a house. The things that you should consider. Basically the experience of the people around you. That could be many things. The neighborhood, people that live in that neighborhood, do they know how to keep up housing as well as you keeping up the house as well? Basically, keep the property value in the neighborhood up. That way, your home doesn't lose value. Most homes are going up in value just because of inflation, but a lot of it is just you must keep the yard up. You must basically keep them looking good. That's where HOAs come in, and some people call them Nazis. Some do go overboard with it. But the main thing for the HOA is just keep the property value up on the home. Some people don't understand that. They just think it's my house. I can make it look however I want to, but if it hurts the neighborhood, it can hurt it. The next biggest thing is the size of the home that you need. And that's another problem when it comes to buying a house because a lot of times the people selling homes are trying to make as much money as possible. So they're building bigger homes. Uh, you need the 3 bedroom, 2.5 bathrooms, and it's just you that's going to be living there. You have no family, no kids, but that's the house they're trying to sell you because you can't find just a single bedroom home. Is very difficult to find. The loan approved numbers and down payment options. First, you're just gonna have your interest rate, closing costs. Even though with the Bank of America they said they will cover that, but you need to see how that's going to affect the loan in long term. How much you actually pay for the house, such as the total value listed of the home is 300,000, but you're going to end up paying 500,000 once everything's said and done. That's if you make it through the home loan. Safety, the area around you. Is it a safe neighborhood? Do you have is there a homeless camp 2 miles like you can see it from your house? Not to say that all homeless people are violent, but that's not a good situation. Where you come out, you got a guy sleeping in the bed of your truck. Every morning you got to fight them and kick you out of the car. But also, homeless people need money. Some of them are just down bad, and some of them just that's going to be their life living on the street. Walkability: can you just walk to the store if needed? The area that I currently live right now, and the areas I live in, apartment complex, I always kind of looked at like if I needed to walk to the store, like if I didn't have a car, like I could walk to the grocery store. I can, if I needed to drop my car off at a basic mechanic, get the tires changed or oil changed. If I needed to walk home, maybe they had to keep the vehicle. I can do that. Budget: how much can you really afford? Really, really afford. Air conditioning, that kind of goes into the range of utilities. How much does it cost to cool that home? A lot of people have very high electric bills because if they have the house with a very high ceiling and they're trying to cool it and keep it cool, it has to burn a lot of energy or just keep it warm, depending on the area that you live in. Currently, where I live in, like Southern California, like right now, nobody's running the heat. They'll just put like a coat on or a blanket on, and they're fine, just to save on electricity. Location, location, location. Where you're buying the home is if it's an up and coming area, okay, cool. If the local businesses are all going out of businesses and leaving that area, you might not want to buy a home there because the area may leave and you might find yourself one needing to move closer to whatever new job you have, or just location, what type of area. Very crime ridden areas. Nobody really wants to live there unless they have to, Or some areas could just be what I call working class neighborhood. There's some crime, but it's actually a pretty good neighborhood. The home condition. How old is that home? A lot of people just want a home, but you must make sure that's where the inspection comes in, especially a house got age. Even if the house is only 1 year old, you have to get it inspected just to see what condition it is. It's very important. If you're a veteran, make sure you get the VA home loan because they will inspect the home very, very harsh. And if it comes to find out that something they miss and that the homeowner, the seller should have told you about, the VA can step in and help you out and possibly either get it fixed at the cost of the person that sold it to you. Amenities, like coffee shops, that's like walkability. Like that's what some people want, like what's close. But like if there's like a hiking trail close, or if you could just walk around the neighborhood and with no problem. Then also we got the cost. Along with your loan, we always talk about other costs that you may have. You have property tax, uh, which is part. Again, you got the HOA fees. The HOA helps to keep the neighborhood up. I talked about that a little bit earlier. But then you also got repairs. A repair cost of a home is something that people don't think about. You might just need to paint the home, the outside, the inside. Oh, you got to get your roof redone here. Or, that drywall is getting a little old. They said I got to replace it. If it's a two-story and the beam that's holding up something is coming off, water heater. You need a new water heater. Oh, some pipes are going bad. Like in Fleet, Michigan, a lot of the pipes went bad. They all needed to be replaced. Most of those people were renting homes. But say if you were a homeowner, to get all the pipes ripped out of the house, you might as well just get the whole house remodeled. And it's just stuff like that that can come up at any time. So you have to have extra money just for home repairs. And that's just stuff that you need to think about. But that just goes back to this. I doubt many people are really going to complain that this is racist because they know these are not the best loans. I want to, yeah, I would say they're subprime. And if you're ever thinking like just an easy, quick way to know, type in, go to Bing. I like to show people where I get this from. Subprime home mortgage. Oh, see, Bing already knew what I was talking about. Okay, subprime. Remind house. See, it comes to this thing. Hold up. Bing is trying to get them out of his own right now. Stop it, Bing. Trying to help me. Okay. Search it. Yeah. Okay, I don't want to search it. Okay, Bing's busy. Okay, subprime mortgage. Okay, a subprime mortgage is a type of mortgage where issued to borrowers with a low credit score or negative information. These loans have a higher interest rate than prime mortgages and often have adjustable rates. If you look at the crash of 2008, see, it even talks about it here. The 2008 financial crash has been playing a large part on the proliferation of subprime mortgages offered to unqualified buyers. That's very unqualified buyers in the years leading up to a meltdown. And that's the biggest thing. You yourself need to make sure that you're qualified. Other people might say just go buy a house and no, and then like later on you might say that hey, I could have got a deal in. Hindsight is always 2020 later on in life because you never know what's going to happen because you knew what happened, so it made it seem like if I would have done that, would I have been okay. But if you would have made certain decisions, it puts your life on a different path. So you never really know what's going to happen. That house you would have bought back in 2000, well, let's say 2005, you didn't know about it, but below it, it had a sinkhole. So it was actually good that you didn't buy it. But that's the biggest thing I just want to point out. Just looking at houses, always look for stuff like this where sometimes where banks are offering certain deals. Look at them closely because at the end of the day, the bank just wants profit, profit, profit. And after they get those profits, they want even more profit. All right.